Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of our podcast, Driving Eco-Sustainability, My Perspective, and once again, I'm your host, Grace, and we are going to be discussing a key term in the climate change space that you may be interested in learning more about, having had it being used here and there. And today we are going to be talking about COP. Oftentimes we hear people saying COP this, COP that, COP the other, and we don't know what they are talking about. So COP in full is Conference of the Parties, and it is the supreme or overall decision-making body of the UNFCCC. It meets annually in arguably the biggest global climate change conference, usually known as COP. As we heard, there's been COP28 last year, then the other year it was COP27, and parties usually meet in Bonn, Germany, unless parties decide otherwise. The first COP, which is COP1, took place in Berlin, Germany in March 1995. And the most recent one, which is COP28, took place in Dubai. This year, COP29 is taking place in Baku, Azerbaijan. And next year, COP30 will take place in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So what is the role of COP, or Conference of the Parties? Now, the role of COP is to review the implementation of the UNFCCC, other instruments adopted by the previous COPs, and it takes decisions for the effective implementation of the convention, and the national communications and emission inventories are usually reviewed at this conference. As you may remember, it was a responsibility created in the UNFCCC for countries to have national inventories detailing their greenhouse gas emissions and or strategies to mitigate their greenhouse gas emissions. And these ones, as I have highlighted, are submitted by the parties prior to COP, and they are discussed and deliberated upon at the COP. And also something else, COP assesses the effects of the measures taken by the parties and the progress made towards achieving the ultimate objective of the UNFCCC. Each COP usually results in adoption of a statement or a binding agreement which is publicly released at the end of the conference. For example, at COP28, the UAE consensus was adopted. Other milestones at previous COPs also include operationalization of the Loss and Damage Fund. Now, this one was operationalized at COP29. However, it followed a decision of its establishment at Sharm el-Sheikh, which is COP27, which happened in Egypt. Also, previously, as we noted at COP21, the Paris Agreement was adopted. COP21 took place in Paris, France. Then at COP26, the Glasgow Climate Pact was adopted, which detailed a decade of action towards mitigating greenhouse gas emissions and financing mitigation and adaptation towards climate change. Also, declarations are usually adopted at various COPs. For example, at the previous COP in Dubai, a declaration was adopted on health and climate change. Also, a declaration on agriculture was adopted. Now, each party to the UNFCCC is represented at this conference, and the conference is attended by representatives of governments and non-state party observer organizations, and these include NGOs, civil society organizations, private sector players, financial institutions, universities, local communities. The host and presidency of the Conference of the Parties usually rotates across 5 regional groups that include Africa, Asia, Eastern Europe, Latin America and the Caribbean, Western Europe, and other states. These cover Australia, Canada, and the USA. Now, within these regional groups, there are also negotiation blocks where countries unite to present a unified position on a key decision that is being undertaken at COP. For example, these blocs include the EU, the European Union, G77 and China, the African Group, the Least Developed Countries Group, the Alliance of Small Island States, to mention but a few. So if you're interested in attending the Conference of Parties, or COP, and participate, how do you think you can participate? Now, to participate, organizations which include NGOs and international NGOs must be admitted to COP as observer organizations to the UNFCCC process, and they send representatives to attend the sessions or meetings. These organizations apply and must meet the eligibility requirements, submit the required documents, and the application is assessed by the UNFCCC Secretariat. Eligible organizations are given provisional admittance to register delegates for COP and prepare to travel. Now, this process from application and to provisional admittance usually takes a minimum of a year. So it is advised that all interested NGOs are supposed to kickstart the process as early as possible. Therefore, if you haven't yet started this process, you will notice that now it may be a bit too late to be given provisional admittance to attend COP29 in Baku. Now, once admitted, the organization does not need to reapply in future for admission to attend future COPs. So if your organization is not admitted, therefore it means it will not carry an official observer status to the UNFCCC processes. Therefore, your representatives or those people from your organization who may want to attend, they may be given badges by those organizations that have been provisionally admitted to attend sessions of any upcoming COP. And you will notice that only accredited persons or persons with badges can access the conference's official activities in the blue zone. Now, you'll be wondering, what is the blue zone? Because we always hear there is a blue zone and the green zone. Now, the blue zone is where plenary sessions and negotiations take place. Here, the world leaders, senior climate politicians, scientists, and advisors, country representatives, observers convene to discuss and negotiate global climate agreements, share knowledge, and showcase climate action initiatives. It is managed by the UNFCCC. And in the blue zone, countries also host their country pavilions and meeting rooms for country delegations. Also in the blue zone, the COP presidency themed events take place here, and also hundreds of side events with panel discussions and roundtable exchanges. Now, in the green zone, for it's open to the general public, civil society, and the media. It's a space for exhibitions, side events, networking, raising awareness about climate change issues, inspiring climate action, showcasing climate action initiatives. And in this zone, organizations, communities, and individuals share their climate stories, showcase to others their innovations, and also engage with others on climate-related topics. This zone is open to everyone, and it is the zone where people network. There is also a myriad of engagement and also activism. So you can also attend the Conference of Parties remotely. When I say remotely, I mean you can attend it online. There are usually webcasts and series of materials that are sent on the UNFCCC website. Also, on their YouTube channel, they usually have a series of sessions. Also, a couple of side events are hosted on Zoom, and several organizations also share in-time updates on their social media pages. For example, the Youth Coalition on Loss and Damage shares a lot of information on its page about negotiations. Some organizations have daily updates or a weekly roundup of what has transpired in the negotiations. For example, there's the Earth Negotiation Bulletin that usually provides highlights of what has been going on during the negotiations. Now, if you are interested in attending COP, you could approach your country climate change department or Ministry of Environment to obtain information on how you can be accredited to attend the COP. Now, other than the designated country negotiators, other persons given a badge usually must be ready to fund their own expenses during their stay in the COP hosting countries. And I will share the links to all the sites, especially the UNFCCC site, the Earth Bulletin site, where you can access all the updates about the negotiations that are happening at the COP, and the materials on the UNFCCC, plus the Twitter pages as well. So if you are interested in attending this year's Conference of Parties, you must be ready and you must start and plan early in time, and also equip yourself with knowledge and key terms in the climate change space so that you can also be able to participate and engage, network, and also be part of the drives and also campaigns that happen during the Conference of the Parties, either within the negotiations or the side events. I have been your host, Grace. Do you want to learn more about the Conference of Parties, or do you want to learn more about any other key climate change term? Please follow and subscribe to this channel. I will be bringing you more as we learn together about climate change. Thank you so much.